Hello everybody, my name is Victoria, and today we will start the second part of my story when they laughed at my dreams, and now they ask for advice. And also subscribe my YouTube channel, Speak Stories, thank you. At first, I felt a mix of pride and bitterness. But over time, the bitterness faded. I realized the best revenge wasn't proving them wrong, it was living a life I loved, on my own terms. Gratitude for the pen, it sounds strange, but today, I'm grateful for the laughter and doubt. Without them, I might have stayed safe, never pushing myself to grow. Their disbelief forced me to build strength, discipline, and resilience. It taught me to rely on my own belief, rather than waiting for others to supply it. Pain was my first teacher. Over time, it became my power. A letter to my past self. If I could write to the young Victoria, who felt so crushed by doubt, I'd say, they will laugh, and it will hurt, but the hurt will teach you strength. You'll cry, but you'll keep going. You'll be underestimated, but you'll build something real and beautiful. One day, those same voices will become softer, and yours will become stronger. You will not only survive, you will thrive, standing tall today. When I stand behind my market stall, or walk into a shop that sells my work, I stand a little taller, not because I no longer feel doubt, but because I know I can keep going even when I do. Turning pain into power wasn't magic. It was thousands of quiet choices to keep going, keep believing, and keep creating. That journey shaped not just my business, but the woman I became. It's a strange thing when life begins to shift quietly, almost so quietly you don't even notice it at first. The same people who once laughed, doubted, or looked past your dreams suddenly start to see you differently. They no longer see the girl with her silly little ideas. They start to see someone worth listening to. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's like watching the seasons change. But when you do realize it, it feels as though the world has spun around, and you're finally standing where you always knew you belonged. A message from Hannah. It began with a single message. I remember it so clearly, as if the universe wanted me never to forget. I was sitting at my small desk, packing online orders late at night, when my phone buzzed. I wiped the ink off my fingers, picked it up, and saw Hannah's name. For a moment, my heart stopped. "Hey Vic, hope you're well. I've been seeing your designs online lately, they're beautiful. I was wondering, how did you actually get started? I've been thinking about launching something creative myself, but I don't know where to begin." I must have read that message at least 5 times. Hannah, the same friend who had once giggled over coffee at my dream, was now asking me how to start. I wasn't angry. Instead, I felt something softer, almost like quiet vindication mixed with gratitude. In that moment, the years of doubt, fear, and loneliness seemed to make sense. It wasn't about proving her wrong. It was about proving to myself that I could keep going long enough for the world to catch up. I wrote back warmly, trying to remember how scary it had felt to start. "Of course, I'd love to help," I replied. And I meant it. Unexpected visitors. A few weeks later, I was running a small weekend stall at a local craft market. Business had been steady, and I was busy talking to a customer when I saw, out of the corner of my eye, someone familiar walking up. It was my cousin Emily and her friend Emily. who had once teased me at family dinners about my art phase, now stood there holding one of my prints, looking genuinely impressed. "I didn't know you were doing this seriously," she said, her voice softer than I'd ever heard it. "Your stuff is really good, Vic. How do you even get started, with markets and all?" In that moment, I saw something I had never seen in her eyes before: curiosity without judgment. Respect, even. And though part of me remembered all the times she had made me feel small, another part of me realized something bigger. People change when they see change. Family dinners. Different questions. At the next family dinner, something felt different. Instead of the usual polite nods when I mentioned my work, people started asking real questions. "So how many shops are you in now?" my uncle asked. "And what's next for your brand?" asked my aunt, genuinely interested. For years, I had dreaded these gatherings, afraid of being dismissed. Now, the conversation had shifted. My family, who once saw my dream as a hobby, now saw it as something real, something living and breathing that had grown beyond even what I had imagined. It wasn't dramatic. No one stood up and apologized for doubting me, but they didn't need to. Their questions, their curiosity, that was enough. In their own way, they were acknowledging the truth I had always known deep down, that my dream had value. When old classmates reached Otaz, my online shop grew. I shared my journey openly on social media. Photos of markets, behind-the-scenes stories, small milestones I was proud of. One by one, old classmates I hadn't spoken to in years began to message me. "Hey Victoria, I saw your designs online there, so lovely. Could you give me some tips on starting an Etsy shop?" Or, "I've always wanted to do something creative, but I'm scared. How did you find the courage?" Each message felt surreal. These were people who had once watched me struggle, who had likely seen me as someone ordinary, maybe even forgettable. And now, they were coming to me for advice, not because I had suddenly become famous or rich, but because they saw something real and consistent. I kept going. The first workshop, about a year after Hannah's message, I got invited to host a small workshop for beginner artists and makers. It wasn't a huge event, just a room of about 20 people, many of them women who had always dreamed of starting something creative but didn't know where to begin. Standing there looking out at those hopeful faces, I remembered my 8 self, sitting in a cafe, heart racing as she dared to say her dream out loud. Back then, laughter had met her words. Now, people were waiting to listen. I shared openly about the mistakes I'd made, the tears, the rejections, and the moments of doubt. When the workshop ended, a woman in her 50s came up to me, eyes bright with tears, and said, "Thank you. You've made me believe it's not too late to start." That moment meant more than any number in my bank account. Seeing my designs in shops one day, I walked into a shop I admired for years, a beautiful, independent gift shop known for supporting local artists. And there, hanging on a small display, were my prints, my name on the tag, my work among other talented creators. For a second, I just stood there, afraid to blink in case it wasn't real. I remembered every night I had stayed up, fighting doubt and exhaustion. Every laugh that had echoed in my memory. And now, in this quiet moment, there was no laughter, only a sense of belonging. The softening of old critics, the people who once doubted me didn't all apologize. And some never acknowledged their past words at all. But I noticed something gentler. They no longer laughed. When I spoke about my new designs, they listened. When I shared plans for my next collection, they asked thoughtful questions. At first, I didn't know how to feel. Part of me wanted to remind them of what they'd said. But over time, the desire to prove anything faded. I realized I had outgrown the need for their validation. The power had shifted not because they said sorry, but because I no longer needed them to. What advice means now, when people ask me for advice now, I don't feel powerful or superior. I feel honored, on a bit protective of their dreams, because I know how fragile they can be at the start. I tell them the truth, that doubt never fully leaves, that rejection still stings, and that there will be days you'll want to give up. But I also tell them that small steps matter, that progress is rarely loud, and that sometimes the best thing you can do is keep going when no one is watching, because in the end, it's not about proving people wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you're willing to keep walking, even when the path is lonely. Looking back with kinder eyes, it would be easy to look back at those who laughed and feel only bitterness. But when I think about it now, I feel something closer to compassion. Many of them didn't laugh to hurt me. They laughed because my dream frightened them or reminded them of dreams they'd buried. They couldn't imagine a different life, so they couldn't see it for me either. And that's okay. My journey wasn't meant to convince them. It was meant to shape me. The quiet victory, my victory, didn't come with applause or headlines. It came in the quietest moments. A message, asking for advice, a print hanging in a shop, a customer telling me my design made them smile. It came in family dinners where my dream was treated as real work. It came in the workshop where someone dared to dream again after years of silence. And most importantly, it came in the way I saw myself, not as the girl with the cute idea, but as a woman who built something real through years of unseen effort. What truly changed? People ask what changed to make them stop laughing. Was it a big break? A viral post? A lucky opportunity? The truth is, what changed wasn't sudden or dramatic. It was consistency. Showing up, again and again, until even the loudest doubts had to admit, she isn't going away. It wasn't about talent or luck alone. It was about staying when it would have been easier to quit. Passing it on today. When I see someone share their fragile new dream, I remember how it felt to be laughed at, and I choose to be the person I once needed. Someone who listens, who says, "Go for it," and who believes that small beginnings matter. If my story does anything, I hope it helps someone else keep going long enough for their tables to turn to. A letter to those who once laughed. If I could speak to everyone who doubted me, I'd say this: thank you. Your laughter hurt, but it pushed me forward. Without it, I might have stayed silent. Your disbelief forced me to build belief in myself, brick by brick. And now, I have something real, not just to prove you wrong, but to prove to myself that I was right to dream. And to those who now ask for advice, I share what I've learned gladly. Because if my journey teaches anything, it's that it's never too late to start, and no laugh can drown out a determined heart. The greatest lesson of all wasn't about revenge or recognition. It was about growth. In the end, the tables didn't just turn. They expanded. They made room for the girl who once felt small and afraid to take her place, not because others finally let her, but because she built a seat there herself. And when the world finally noticed, she was already too busy living her dream to need their permission.